February 1959. Deep within the frozen Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union, 9 young hikers prepared for a journey that would become one of the greatest mysteries in human history. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, a skilled engineering student and experienced mountaineer. Together, the team planned to cross one of the most remote regions in Russia. Their destination was difficult. Their route was dangerous, but nobody expected the mountains themselves to become their enemy. As the expedition progressed, temperatures dropped below -25 degrees Celsius. Thick snow covered every path. Endless forests surrounded them. Yet the hikers remained optimistic. They laughed. They took photographs. They recorded memories. No sign of fear appeared on their faces. Then something unexpected happened. One member of the group became ill. Unable to continue, he turned back and returned home. At the time, it seemed like bad luck. Years later, people would realize something terrifying. He was the only member of the expedition who survived. On February 1st, the hikers reached the eastern slope of a mountain known by local Mansi tribes as Kolat-Syakhl. Its translation was chilling. Mountain of the Dead. Whether coincidence or warning, nobody knows. But that night, the group decided to camp there. As darkness fell, the team pitched their tent on the exposed mountainside. Wind howled across the frozen landscape. Temperatures continued falling. Inside the tent, the hikers prepared for sleep. Outside, something waited in the darkness. Nobody knows exactly what happened next. There were no survivors, no witnesses, no final message. Yet the evidence left behind would shock investigators for decades. At some point during the night, the hikers suddenly fled their tent. Weeks passed. The hikers never returned. Concerned families demanded answers. Search teams were sent into the mountains. What they discovered would become the beginning of an international mystery. The abandoned tent was finally found, but something was terribly wrong. The tent had been cut open from the inside. Shoes remained. Food remained. Warm clothing remained. Yet the hikers had vanished into the freezing darkness. Investigators followed a trail of footprints leading away from the campsite. Strangely, the tracks showed no signs of panic. No running, no struggle, just calm footsteps, walking into the deadly cold, towards something hidden in the darkness, something they feared more than freezing to death. Following the footprints, rescuers descended toward a nearby forest. The trail stretched for nearly a mile through deep snow. Then suddenly, the footprints ended. It was as if the mountain itself had swallowed the hikers. Search teams spread out across the frozen landscape. Hours later, they made a horrifying discovery. Beneath a massive cedar tree, investigators found the first 2 bodies. The hikers were barefoot. They wore only thin clothing. Temperatures that night had fallen below -25 degrees Celsius. Nearby, the remains of a small fire still marked the snow. It appeared they had desperately tried to survive. But survival had not been enough. As rescuers examined the tree, another chilling detail emerged. Several branches had been broken high above the ground, nearly 15 feet high. Someone had climbed the tree, but why? Were they trying to escape something? Or were they watching something moving through the darkness below? Days later, 3 more bodies were discovered. They lay between the cedar tree and the abandoned tent, one after another, as though they had been attempting to return. Their final positions painted a tragic picture. Whatever had driven them from the tent, they eventually realized the tent was their only hope. By now, the Soviet government had become deeply involved. Rumors began spreading across the country. Some blamed an avalanche. Others whispered about secret military experiments. Strange lights had reportedly been seen in the sky around the same time. But the most terrifying discoveries were still hidden beneath the snow. And when the remaining 4 hikers were finally found, the mystery would become far more disturbing than anyone imagined. 4 hikers were still missing. Months later, when the snow finally melted, investigators uncovered a scene so shocking that even experienced officials struggled to explain it. Broken bones, missing eyes, missing tongues, and injuries that seemed impossible. The darkest chapter of the Dyatlov Pass mystery